There's a popular joke in the world of aviation. It goes something like this. How do you know when there's a pilot in the room? They'll tell you. Being a pilot is awesome. Flying over the ice caps of Greenland, looking down on the hustle and bustle of cities from up high, even just knowing what it looks like to be inside a cloud. Being a pilot is cool, and we're not generally shy at telling people that we're aviators. It makes us feel special when we tell people that we're pilots. But with my recent health issues, I've obviously been grounded and I haven't been able to fly anymore. And so I've started wondering, how long can you actually call yourself something when you've actually stopped doing that something for quite a long period of time? People in general love to put labels on themselves and on each other. Just think about when you meet someone for the first time and they say, "So what do you do?" And in answering that question, we're instantly required to provide this very concise summary of who we are and what we represent. It's the same with our social media profiles. After choosing a username, generally the next thing that you have to do is to fill out a bio to explain exactly who you are in 25 words or less. So here in my office at home, I have all these reminders around me that the definition of me as a pilot has literally expired. For example, subscriptions to things like maps and charts I used to use when I was flying. They've expired. My instrument proficiency check, that expired a couple of months ago. I've got things like cameras on my desk which are lined up and ready to go, but I've just got nothing to point them at. And now even when I do something as simple as just opening up a cupboard, I just get a reminder of, I guess, all the things that I used to associate with flying, which now they're just stockpiled around. Reminders of the times that I was happily flying around and I could legitimately call myself a pilot. You've probably already heard of the 5 stages of grief. It's that list of emotions that you would typically feel when you've lost something. And it varies a little bit, but generally those 5 emotions are denial, then you go through anger, then there's bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. Now, I don't believe that those are exclusively associated with losing something physical like an object or a possession or God forbid, something like a loved one. I think you can actually experience quite a few emotions of grief when you lose the ability to do something as well. Like if you're watching this and you're an athlete and you've had an injury and you can no longer participate in that sport that you used to love so much. Or if you're a singer or an actor or a teacher and you've had vocal issues and you've no longer got the ability to express yourself verbally. Loss is loss after all. And I've been going through my own stages of grief with losing the ability to be a pilot as well. Not quite the same as those 5 that I listed. Mine have more been denial, first of all. I really did not think that this was happening to me at all, and it just felt like a dream, to be honest. Then there was quite a lot of sadness. A great deal of confusion then set in when I started asking questions like, well, what the hell does this actually mean for my future? Apathy, when I just kind of gave up and watched a lot of Netflix. And now I'm in this kind of bargaining phase where I'm starting to ask questions of myself, my existence, my future, and really just trying to work out what that future actually looks like. Now, I'm assuming the aim is to get to acceptance, but when so many aspects of your future are outside of your control, then surely acceptance isn't an option because you don't know what the options are on the table for you to actually accept. I don't know, it's all still rather unclear. So what do you do in a situation like this? Well, in my instance, if I cannot physically maneuver an aircraft like a pilot would, instead of physically being a pilot, I can still think and act like a pilot would. It's like if I was flying and there was a big storm up ahead of you and you aren't in control of that storm. You don't control the clouds, you can't make them get out of your way. So you either try and find a way through it, or you decide to do what I'm probably doing at the moment, which is just take a second, divert, and focus on the things that you can control. So I've been controlling things like my physical health and fitness. I think it's really important when you have a bit of a gap in your career or your hobby to focus on physical fitness. Some element of physical exercise at least once a day has really helped me, not just from growing my strength physically, but also just from a mental headspace point of view as well. It's easy to sit in the house and dwell. Doing something physical every day and getting yourself out of the house, I think is really important for you. When I have been at home, I've been jumping on my iPad and looking at planning mock flights, for example, places that I might like to go if I ever do fly again. I've been studying instrument approach plates. I've been kind of chair flying flights as if I was in the plane flying them for real. I've also been trying to fly with my friends as a passenger wherever I can, mostly because it's a lot of fun and it's great to get back up in the plane again, obviously, but also just to try and think what I would do in certain situations with the safety of knowing that someone else is currently controlling the aircraft at the same time. All of this is so that when a path does potentially present itself through that storm, I feel ready to navigate it, just like I would if I actually was a pilot. So can you call yourself something when you no longer do that thing? Can I call myself a pilot when I'm not flying? Well, to be honest with you, you can call yourself whatever the bloody hell you want. It really doesn't matter. The thing that I've struggled with quite a lot over the last few months, but I'm actually coming to terms with now, and this is the message that I really want to get across to you in this video. Nobody cares what you call yourself. When you meet people and they ask you that question, what do you do? I honestly don't think it matters what you tell them, because by the time you leave that conversation, they've already made up their own mind about who you are and what you represent. You have absolutely no control about what others think about you. So instead of worrying about what people think about you, instead of me worrying about, do people still think I'm a pilot here on YouTube, even though I'm not flying a plane, it's better just to act and think the way that you want to act and think, and just let other people make up their own mind about you. Ultimately, like that storm out the front window, you can't control it. So just focus on the things you can control and forget about the things that you can't. The other thing I'm finding really important to do, and I encourage you to do as well, is just to keep practicing gratitude for all the things that I do have. From all the stories I've heard from people like yourselves who've shared your personal health stories with me over the past few months, I feel so lucky to have come out of this brain surgery with such a positive prognosis for my future. Spending my time remembering and appreciating what I do have and not lamenting the loss of, to be honest, as it's just a label that only really mattered to me and my own ego. Remembering what I do have and forgetting about the things that I cannot control in this situation for me is a far better use of my mental energy. It does make me think I should probably change my original joke, the one that I did at the beginning of this video. I think nowadays it should go something like this. How do you know when there's a healthy, aviation-loving, grateful, brain tumor surviving lucky bastard in the room? They'll tell you.